What's going on, you guys? Today we're going to do a core workout specifically designed for pregnant women. If you're pregnant first, second trimester, even third trimester, if you are comfortable, there is going to be some laying on the back. So if you're concerned, double check with your doctor. I'm not a doctor. I feel fine laying on my back for, it's just a couple minutes. It's not long. I will say toward, the end of your pregnancy, if you are uncomfortable laying on your back, maybe refrain from this. I'll probably come out with another core workout that's more comfortable for third trimester. So stay tuned for that. But there's really so many benefits in working your core throughout pregnancy. Not only will it help you with, maintaining your proper core function. As you know, our core is the main stabilizer of our body. It acts to equalize pressure throughout our body. So it's important to keep that function going, especially as our diaphragm gets squished and all of our intestines are getting squished to make room for the baby. So it's important to keep those functions because it is going to help with things like our deep breathing, helping to reduce anxiety throughout pregnancy, which can already be heightened, especially with the added hormones. But also to just make sure that our pelvic floor is functioning at its best. And that becomes really important with things like preparing for childbirth and even postpartum with, just helping to make sure our pelvic floor is working well, not overly tense or tight, not working enough. It's going to be that perfect balance, and that'll help things like pelvic organ prolapse and certain things that we can truly avoid before it even gets too late. So this is just a quick workout, should be 9 or 10 minutes. It won't be long, but it's something that you can refer back to when you're like, I want to work my core, but I don't know what to do. We're not focusing on doing things like, getting 6-pack abs when we're pregnant or, even postpartum. We're not going to focus on that for a while. This is more fundamental. It's foundational. It's how do we get our core working properly, our transverse abdominals firing properly? How do we incorporate that with our breath? And how do we incorporate that to include our pelvic floor so that our system can try to function more naturally more of the time, and it just equalizes pressure, naturally without us having to focus on it so much. So stay tuned. I will be doing a voiceover so that you guys can hear me clearly while I'm doing the exercises. And yeah, as always, let me know your feedback and let me know if you guys want more. Have a great day and enjoy.
All right, getting started here. Come into a hands and knees position. We're going to start with a deep belly diaphragmatic breath here. So let your belly hang down. Breathe in through your rib cage, your diaphragm, and also through your back. And on the exhale, you want to contract your transverse abdominals and lift them toward the spine. At the same time, lifting your pelvic floor and contracting your pelvic floor. So deep breath in, let the belly hang down, breathe through the diaphragm all the way, 360 breath. Exhale, lift your pelvic floor, contract your pelvic floor, and bring your TAs right into your spine. Good. Deep breath in all the way. And exhale, draw the navel in toward the spine, contract the pelvic floor. All right. Deep breath in, deep breath out. Engage the pelvic floor and those transverse abdominals. Okay, we're moving on to the next exercise here. So this is kind of like a prep for bird dog. So we're going to take it nice and slow. Just kind of break it down into sections. So big breath in, big breath out, incorporating what we just did. And then we're going to lift in opposition our arms and our legs. So left arm up, right leg out, and vice versa. Really concentrating on getting a big breath in, engaging our pelvic floor, our transverse abdominals, and then completing the exercise. So we know what it feels like to do the exercise properly and effectively, even though it's taking more time. Big breath in, draw the navel in, opposite arm, opposite leg, and switch. Perfect. Deep breath in, deep breath out. bird dog, and switch sides. Great job, you guys. It's all about progressing. So now we're moving into just straight bird dog, so we can kind of pick up the pace a little bit. I want the integrity to stay there though. So really trying to focus on your transverse abdominals, making sure they are working for us. Imagine like there's a glass of water right on your back and you just don't want it to tip over. That's kind of the whole goal. So balance is the key. Nice and slow and controlled. Good, but the pace is going to be a little bit quicker, just building off of the last two exercises, kind of combining them together. Great job. Take your time, nice and slow. Good, quality movement here. Balance is the key. Awesome. All right, moving on to the next exercise. Again, we're in this quadruped position. We're coming into a knee hover. So we're going to focus again on the breath. So deep breath in, belly drops, and then on the exhale, lift the pelvic floor, draw the belly in, and then lift the knees up into a static state and release on the inhale, okay? Deep breath in, exhale, engage the transverse abdominals, lift your knees for a few seconds, and down. Good. Really make sure your shoulders are right above your wrists here. No arching in the low back. On the exhale, draw the belly in, lift the pelvic floor, lift the knees, and drop. Good. Big breath in. Exhale, draw the belly in, lift the knees. 3, 2, 1, and drop. Good. Keep going here. Big breath in. Big breath out, lift, 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 and drop. Good. That was awesome, you guys. That is hard work, so we only need to do a little bit of that, okay? Again, quality over quantity. Coming onto our back here, we're going into a diaphragmatic breath. So we're breathing all the way in. Lift the belly, expand the ribs, breathe through the back. Exhale, draw the belly in, really contract that pelvic floor on the exhale. Good, and on the inhale, release it. So just imagine relaxing that pelvic floor. Breathe out, exhale, draw the belly in, lift the pelvic floor, get that really good contraction. We're teaching our breath and pelvic floor to succinct themselves, to be able to function properly as the abdominal canister, okay? Breathe in. On the exhale, lift, contract your pelvic floor, draw your belly in. Good. Hold it in for a few seconds. Really feel that engagement. Great job. All right, you guys, coming into the next exercise here, we're going to do a posterior pelvic tilt just on our back here. If it's uncomfortable to lay on your back, you can just do it on a wall as well. So the big difference here is that you're going to lift in, and then on the exhale, keep the pelvic floor engagement, but tilt that posterior tilt so that your back is going to press into the mat. You want to avoid any doming or coning here at any point, so that's why we want to engage our pelvic floor, because by doing that, we're going to eliminate that doming. If we see any doming or coning or pyramiding, that's a sense that we're not doing it properly. So by incorporating the pelvic floor contraction, we will, hopefully eliminate that, and that's what we want. We want it to work as a functional canister. Great job. So coming into marches here, we are going to just stay on our back, breathe in all the way, expand on the exhale, lift the pelvic floor, and then march those legs while you're exhaling, while you're drawing that belly in, okay? Good. So take a second to breathe in, get all your air in that diaphragm. And then on the exhale, lift the pelvic floor. Contract it. Good. Make sure that you're feeling it where you're supposed to, right in that lower abdominal region. Those transverse abdominals draw all the way into your spine. Good. And you let them do the work by bringing those knees up in opposition, okay? It's not about your hips, not about your legs. It's really those TAs working to bring them up. Good. These are butterflies here. So we're going to do this in sections too. So we're going to breathe in, get all the air in, drop the knees on the exhale, contract the pelvic floor, draw your belly in, and then lift the knees up. Do not attempt to lift your knees up while you're inhaling. So lift in, drop the knees, breathe out, lift the knees. Get all that air in the belly, drop those knees, contract that pelvic floor, bring that belly in, then lift those knees, okay? It is very choppy, but it's the best way to activate your transverse abdominals. It's the best way to let that core do the work instead of your low back or your legs doing the work. And that's what we're focusing on here. Nice, slow, controlled movements. Drop those knees. Good. Exhale all that air. Lift the pelvic floor. Draw the knees in. Good. So we're coming into glute bridges now. These are some of my favorite. If you're bothered on your back, you can do these in like a kneeling squat position. Good. So we're just like our knees are like basically hip width distance, and you want to avoid that arch, right? You do not want to arch. So you want to keep that posterior pelvic tilt, which keeps the transverse abdominals engaged. Good. And then you're lifting your glutes up toward the ceiling. You could also do this in a hip thrust variation, which means your shoulders would be elevated as well if you don't feel comfortable laying on the ground here. Good. So press your hips up toward the ceiling. Keep that posterior pelvic tilt. Good. Squeeze those glutes up and squeeze them together. Great job. It's a great glute exercise, posterior chain exercise, but also core exercise. Awesome. So then we're coming into a dead bug variation here. So there's a few ways to do this. I'm going to take knees bent here just because we don't need to be, exerting too much pressure. But again, it's kind of like the opposition, like we did with the bird dogs. Opposite arm comes up from opposite leg. Keep them in that bent tabletop position. Try to maintain the low back with the mat. So you want to make sure that you are engaged with your abdominals and that your low back is not doing any of the work. Your TAs are doing all of the work. You can even take the arms out of it if you want. You can gently lift the neck if you want, making sure that you're not doming or coning at all. Keeping an eye right on your core. That's why it's nice to wear a half top. Just keep an eye on it. Good. And relax. Thanks for joining me, you guys. I'll see you next time.